and welcome to Ida Books. I'm Ida and these are my books. Today I will be doing a book haul because I've been writing down the books I've been buying for the past few months and I just reached 40. So it's about time that I tell you about the books I bought because a longer video than this would be ridiculous. So, starting from the beginning, I got an email in I think November from a publishing company asking if I wanted to receive a review copy of a book, and that book is Thomas Wildus and the Book of Sorrows by J.M Bergen. Because I live in Sweden and because our postal service is terrible, I didn't receive this book until February, I think, after the book was actually released. I did, however, read it in like a week and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, I think. This book is about a 13-year-old boy called Thomas Wildus, and when he was 5, his father told him that magic is real, and then the father disappeared. So Thomas has been going around for years and years trying to find out if magic actually is real, trying to find books on the subject, and one day when he's 13 he walks into this strange little bookshop and he receives the Book of Sorrows, which proves to him that magic actually is real. It is the first in a series. I'm not sure how many books there are or supposed to be, but I'm very excited for the sequels. Next books I bought are the next 4 in the Dresden Files series. So I have Death Masks, Blood Rites, Deadbeat and Proven Guilty by Jim Butcher. I bought the first 4 before Christmas because my bookstore always has this buy 4 for the price of 3 for paperbacks and pockets. And so I bought these next 4 because I really want this entire series. And I'm not really gonna tell what they're about because I don't remember. I have, however, read all 4 previously in audiobook format. And so now I'm just collecting the series so I can reread them in the future. Next, I went to the second-hand shop belonging to Red Cross. And I was actually there for the theater to buy costumes for the theater. But then when we were done with that, I ended up in the book section as per usual. And I found a lot of books I needed, if I may be so bold. First one is Hans Majestäts Drake by Naomi Novik. This is the first book in a series where I've had the second one since this summer. I actually plan to unhaul the second one. I think it's even in my unhaul video. And then I found the first one. So I bought it. It was like $2. So I bought it. And now I have the first 2 and I can actually read that series. I have no idea what the series is about. I've just had the second book lying around, so now I'm gonna read the series. Next 4 books I found there were part of a series. Isens hemlighet, Vindens väg, Klippornas dans and Ljusets hunger by Naomi Hebert, Lena Ollmark and Åsa Ekström. So this is the 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 6th. I'm still missing the 5th. Book in a series, but I had the first one since I was a child. I really enjoyed it. I read the entire series as a child. And I've kept it around because I really enjoyed it. I wanted to read it again. So now I have almost all of them. The format is a graphic novel mixed with this regular novel. So, and it's also like in a manga kind of style. And they are about a couple of friends who have horses and there's magic. And I think one of the friends' brother died a couple of years ago and there's some weird stuff going on. I don't really remember, but I'm really excited to reread the series as soon as I have the 5th one, if I don't just borrow it at the library. Next is a book I didn't need, but I wanted. It's called Elfsorrow by J.M Barclay. Never heard of it. I think it looks kind of cool. It's about elves. And I think it's about, yeah, it's not like, oh, a human in a fantasy world. Like, no, it's actually about the elves. I rarely read stuff like that. I thought it was interesting. I'm not really sure what's about, except that like the elf race is dying for some reason. Next book I bought while secondhand shopping is Färjan by Strandberg. Strandberg is co-author of Cirkeln, or the Engelsfors trilogy, which is my fave. And it's back there on my fave shelf. And so when I found another book by that author, I thought I needed to have it so I could read it. Next book I also found secondhand shopping is Främlingen by Frei. This is a book I started reading in high school and I got at least halfway through. I'm not entirely sure how far I got. And I had it home for like a year, but then I had to return to the library because they wouldn't let me loan it anymore. And so I never finished it, but I remember really enjoying it. It was a very slow book, and I also had like the large hardback of it when I read it back then, so it was heavy. And so I found this now secondhand. I was like, it's like $1. I have to at least try and read it again. It's the kind of book I've been thinking about like periodically that I wanted to finish. I just never got the chance. So now I do. Last book is by Maggie Stiefvater, and that is why I bought it. It's called Dödsritten. It's by Maggie Stiefvater, also an author that's very popular on BookTube, so I thought I wanted to try out some of her other books and not just read The Raven Boys. I have no idea what it's about, but it's Maggie Stiefvater, so I wanted to read it. Next, I went to Stockholm with my sister, and I actually filmed for that vlog. I filmed what books I bought, but there were so many, and that ended up being like 15 minutes out of the vlog. And the vlog would be like 45 minutes, and that was not reasonable, so I cut it out. So I'll tell you now instead. I went to a writing course with middle grade and young adult authors, and so the kind of like panel discussions with authors and the publishers and stuff like that. And so I bought some of the books by those authors. First one is Gruvan by Sara Lövenstam. I also got it signed by her. This is a book about a girl who finds a diary written by a boy who worked in the coal mines back in the day on Utö. And it's actually interesting. It's like a middle grade book, I think. Next two are by Mia Öström, and that is Vakuum and Dödsbo. And these are about... This book sounds like Coraline. It's like an old house and a weird door behind the wallpaper, and it's kind of spooky. This book is about a girl whose older brother committed suicide a while back, and now she's finding notes written seemingly by him. It sounds quite interesting, and I really want to read these. Next, I went to the science fiction bookstore in Stockholm. There are 3 of them in Stockholm, Gothenburg and Malmö, and I live nowhere near there, so whenever I go into these towns I have to go to the science fiction bookstore because they have a lot more science fiction and fantasy than my regular bookstore here in Umeå, as well as a lot of just nerdy stuff. So I bought like 6 books. First one is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, and I have found this in bookstores in Umeå as well, but I was like, oh, they're in Swedish, so I want to buy it in English instead, and so I found it, and I thought it was in English. It was also on sale. And then, do you see that word? That is Swedish. So apparently, because I hadn't checked before, this book has the same name when translating into Swedish. So I just missed that this book is in Swedish. But now I might as well read it in Swedish because I have it. I might still enjoy it, but I'm just so salty that I messed up and didn't check. I just assumed because the English title it would be in English. And this book, as far as I know, is about a world where magic is forbidden or extinct or something, and I'm not entirely sure, but that is all I've heard about it, and it sounds interesting. Next 4 books I bought because, well, first of all, they're beautiful, but also because a certain Elliot Brooks has been talking a lot about them, and that is the hardback versions of Fullmetal Alchemist. I have the first 4. So volume 1, volume 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they're gorgeous and metallic text, and just, oh, they're wonderful. And I love the anime, and I really want to read the series, so I bought these, and hopefully I can in the future get all of them in these beautiful hardcovers. And I love them because I love hardcovers, and they're so white and pretty and beautiful, and just, oh. So this manga series is a steampunk sort of series set in a world where alchemy is a thing, and like magic type of alchemy. Main characters Al and Ed and Al, Elric, when they were young their mother died, and they tried to bring her back with alchemy, which resulted in Ed losing his arm and a leg, and his brother losing his entire body. And now they're trying to find a way to get their bodies back. Next book is The Complete Art of Fullmetal Alchemist, and this is just a gorgeous giant book that matches the smaller books perfectly, and it's all about the art of the series, and it's giant and beautiful, and I love it. Next 5 books. I just by happenstance were scrolling Facebook on the train on my way to Stockholm, and I found someone put this up for sale for I think 50 or 60 each. 50 each, I think, Swedish crowns. So like $5 or $6. And they were like, yeah, you can buy all if you're in Stockholm, or I can send them. And I was like, I'm very interested in those. So I just wrote, hey, I'm interested, if you still have them. And she answered, like, hey, are you in Stockholm or should I send them? And I was like, you know what, I'm actually in Stockholm in a couple of hours. Who would have thought? So I bought the first 5 volumes of Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. And since we can get these in order, I have volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've been interested in reading the series, but because comics are expensive, I haven't really actually looked them up. And when I found them, someone selling them like secondhand for quite cheap, I was like, yeah, why not take the chance to buy them? And so I did. I don't know very much about the series other than it being like a space opera. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. So a while later I went back to the Red Cross secondhand store and I found 2 more books. I found Frost by Maggie Stiefvater. Again, because it's a popular author on BookTube, I thought I'd try out some of her other books. I have no idea what it's about. I think it's a series according to Goodreads, and I'm very excited to get to it. And I found Estrid by Johanna Hildebrand, the 5th book in the Sagan om Valhalla series, where I read the first one a while ago. I have like the first 4 and this is the 5th, and I could get this cheap, so I thought I'd buy it. And they look very pretty together. Not actually sure what this actual book's about. I'm a little scared to read the back in case I spoil myself for the earlier books, so yeah. The last little pile of books, well no, the last couple of books. I'm getting warm. Are you getting warm? It's warm in here. These are also bought off of Facebook. I saw these and I was like, I need that in my life. And not just because it's Sherlock Holmes, I've showed this in a vlog earlier, not just because they're rainbow, but also, and I didn't realize this until I actually got them home, they have a little introduction by people involved in making the TV series. And yeah, the books I'm talking about are the entire Sherlock Holmes series. So I have A Study in Scarlet, His Last Bow, The Return of Sherlock Holmes, The Sound of Four, The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and The Hound of the Baskervilles. No, they're not in order, they're in a rainbow. And the covers are also pictures from the show. And they're very pretty. And so I love these. They are my precious, and I will treasure them forever. Next, I also showed in a vlog, and that is The Turncoat's Gambit by Andrea Kramer, the 3rd book in the Inventor's Secret series, which I read a couple of weeks ago, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was the 2nd time I read those 2 first books, and now I finally have the 3rd to finish. Look at it, it's beautiful and pristine and so incredibly orange. It looked much more yellow in the pictures I've seen, but it's beautiful and pristine, and I love it so much. I really buy new books. I say as I show a haul of a lot of new books. I've been shopping secondhand a lot. I have, I promise. Last 2 books I bought as recording today. First one is I actually went to a signing at a bookstore. I went early from work to go to a signing, but it's fine. So I got an email because I'm part of I'm like a member of this store club thing. I don't know what it's called. I get emails from them and campaigns and stuff saying these 2 authors are coming to your store, and I was like, yeah, but it's you know, your store might mean, you know, Stockholm, but no, they came to Umeå, and it's I'm mind blown. And that is Sara Bergmark-Elfgren and Carl Jonsson, who wrote They. This is part 2. It is gorgeous. It came out today. I got it signed and drawn. That is Loki or Loke, and just signed by both of them, and it's beautiful, and I am so excited. I'm so excited to read this book. So last year at Nordstrom I bought the first book, and now today they released the second book, so I'm very excited to continue the series. The first book was very good, and I'm very excited to read the conclusion. The last book is Welcome to Lovecraft, Lock and Key Part 1 by Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez. This is a series that I read in high school. It was the first graphic story I read, not first a graphic novel, but first like adult graphic content I read. It's very bloody, it's very violent, and I loved it so much. Even though I'm very queasy and very not into violence, I love this series so much, and I've gone by this comic store so many times just picking up, being like I really want it, but I always think it's too expensive. But then today I decided to pick it up anyway. It's about a house, new family moves in, they start finding a bunch of weird keys to do a bunch of weird magic stuff, and it's a bad guy trying to get these keys to take over the world, I think. It's been quite a few years since I read it. That is all the books I had to share with you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have you read any of the books I hauled today? If you have, maybe leave a comment down below. And yeah, if you like my videos, please subscribe. I upload on Saturdays and sometimes Thursdays. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!